Hello students, and welcome to this video. In today's lesson I will be talking to you about shared and divided possession. Which noun to make possessive when you share something in particular, or when you own two different things, or when each noun is the owner of one separate thing. Well, we have two rules in the making of shared and divided possessives. The first one is when something in particular, one thing, has more than one owner, the second noun must be made possessive. And the rule number two is when possession is divided, both nouns must be made possessive. I have four examples here on the board. The first one is Christina's and Alan's permits. As you can see here, it is not a complete sentence. I just try to show you the essential parts that would give you an idea of how to make this possible. So, well, again, the first one is Christina's and Alan's permits. As you can see, I made both nouns possessive. Why? Because they are not sharing one permit. Each one of them has one permit. So Christina's permit and Alan's permit, they don't have one in particular for both of them. They have one and one. So Christina's and Alan's permits. If it were to be one permit in particular, then we would say Christina, like this, and Alan's permit, just one permit for both. But since we are talking about more than one permit, one belongs to Christina and the other one belongs to Alan, we must make both nouns possessive. The next one is Faby and PJ's videos. As you can see here, I did not put the apostrophe and the S after Faby. I did not put Faby's. I did not make this first noun possessive because these videos, even though it's plural, belong to both of them. So it is a possession in particular. It is something, a group of videos in particular that belong to both of them, Faby and PJ's. That is why the second noun here is made possessive, because this is shared possession. They share videos in common. And on the first one, in the first example, they do not share one permit in common. They have one permit each. All right, the next one is both Lily's and Mary's husbands. Lily's, I made this possessive and I made this possessive. Why? Because they do not share one husband in common or one husband in particular. Lily's husband and Mary's husband. Two husbands, they don't belong to both of them. One husband is for Lily and the other husband is Mary's. So both Lily's and Mary's husbands. Last one says Christopher and Daniel's project. Christopher is not made possessive. Why? Because it is one project in common. It is shared possession. As you can see here, this is not pluralized. If it were pluralized, projects, then we would say, okay, one project belongs to Christopher, the other belongs to Daniel. So we would have to add an apostrophe and an S. Christopher's and Daniel's projects. But since it is not the case here, we will not make the first noun possessive because they share a particular project. Alright, in the next part of this video, I will give you more examples so that you can practice along with me. Now you are going to help me identify which of these are divided possession and which of these talk about shared possession and change them into possessive form. The first one says the books of Karen and Damon. The books of Karen and Damon. So let's say that Karen and Damon share a pile of books. So all of those books belong to both Karen and Damon. So we are talking about shared possession. So the first thing to do here to change it into the possessive form is to write the first noun, Karen. Since we already know that it is shared possession, there is no need to change this into the possessive form. So Karen and Damon's books. As you can see here, solely the second noun are we going to change into possessive form. Karen and Damon's books. The books belong to both of them. They share something in common. The next one is the show of Drake and Josh. The show of Drake and Josh. Let me do this a little bit clearer. There. The show of Drake and Josh. So this particular show belongs to both Drake and Josh. So it is shared possession, in which case we have to first write the first noun, Drake, the conjunction and the second noun with the possessive form, Drake and Josh's, and then the object, show. Drake and Josh's show. Well, I'm going to take away the period since this is not a sentence, because remember, a sentence must always have a subject and a predicate. Alright, this next one says, the car of my mom and dad. The car of my mom and dad. One car belongs to both my mom and my dad. So they share one thing in particular. So we are going to say, first noun, my mom, and dad's car. My mom and dad's car. And the last one is the abilities of Lois and Clark. The abilities of Lois and Clark. We know this is divided possession because we are talking about the abilities of Lois that may be different from the abilities of Clark. So we are going to say Lois's and Clark's apostrophe S abilities. Oh, without the period. Why? Because this is divided possession. We are supposed to make both nouns possessive. Lois's and Clark's. Why? Because we are not talking about one group of abilities that belong to both of them, that they both share. Each of them have their own abilities. So that is why it is divided possession, and therefore we have to make each of the nouns possessive. Lois's and Clark's abilities. All right. If on the top one here, It were the books of Karen and Damon, but we were talking about two books. One belongs to Karen and the other one belongs to Damon. Then this would be divided possession. And instead of saying Karen and Damon's books, we would say Karen's and Damon's books. But this is not the case here. We are talking about Karen and Damon sharing books in common, or sharing possession. Next, I will leave you some homework because you need to improve your English by practicing all the time. Try to practice as much as you can your writing and your speaking skills, and you will surely learn English sooner than you think. For homework, you are going to write 4 sentences using shared and divided possession. Remember the rules, and if you need to look them up again, rewind this video and take note of them. They are very important. It is very important that you learn those 2 rules in the making of shared and divided possessives. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. If you have a workbook, please do your homework in your workbook. And if you don't, please leave your homework in the comment section below this video. Thank you so much for watching it, and well, see you in my next video. Would you like to watch my next video? Click on the television to the right. And in today's lesson, I will be talking to you about compound objects and subjects. A tip to